Shemai everyone, it is JonnyVR here back with another Doctor Who review, and it is over. The 13th Doctor's era is over. Chris Chibnall's time is over. We've had a full-on 90-minute episode of Doctor Who that ended with a regeneration, and the show is now in new hands. There's a lot to get through, so I'm not even sure how long this video is going to be, but I'm going to go through as much as I possibly can. So as always, I'm going to try to do this in a spoiler-free way, as I always do for the first part, and then I'm going to go talking about all of the details of the episode. Now, despite the end of the episode, and I'm going to try and not let the end of the episode distract me from the whole of the episode, because I will go into who actually Jodie Whittaker regenerated into. And if you haven't already seen the episode, you can safely watch this spoiler-free part of the review and then come back when you have. I will let you know with a spoiler warning when I'm about to mention story details. So anyway, right, so spoiler-free part of the review. Now, this episode was not as bad as I thought it was going to be, which may sound a bit like, kind of a bit pessimistic, but I kind of thought that even with 90 minutes, with all of the cast that was already announced and the different enemies, that even with 90 minutes, it would be a bit packed. And this was the case. It was a very packed episode. But it was mainly action-packed. There was a lot of stuff going on, a whole lot of different places, a whole lot of characters. So it was entertaining throughout. But however, there was still aspects of Chibnall's writing that sort of bleed throughout the 90 minutes that we've all become used to over the past couple of years. So although that many parts of the episode were an enjoyable watch, there was some storytelling details that were really kind of a bit typical Chris Chibnall writing. So if you kind of switch your brain off a bit, I think you can enjoy it more. But that doesn't take away some of the good moments in the episode, some very heartfelt moments, some very emotional moments, as you'd expect from the end of the era. But what it's going to be so hard to go into details in a spoiler-free way. But for example, some characters I feel in the whole cast of the episode were really not used to the effect that people maybe thought they were going to be, and returning characters that we haven't seen in a while, people like Ace and Tegan, it was great to see them in an episode of Doctor Who again, but some things that happen in this episode, I was feeling a bit how did that end up in the episode? Why is nobody asking how did that end up that? There's a lot of things in this episode that kind of happen very easily, as you'd expect from some of Chris Chibnall's writing. A lot of very easy fixes to a few of the problems. But the overall course of the episode I thought was kind of, do you know what I think? It's the same as a lot of other Chris Chibnall episodes. The build-up kind of takes a while, and this one, in the 90 minutes, he had I've written timestamps in my notes, right, about how characters are being introduced, plot lines are being introduced, and it gets to the 45-minute mark of the episode, and we still have new characters, we still have plots being introduced, and we don't know how they connect yet. And when you're this far into the episode, and then things start, key things in the episode start to happen, the plot lines start to connect, and then by the end of the episode, you kind of are having to rush to deal with all of the different plot lines, hence leading to some very easy solutions. But then this has happened a lot in Chris Chibnall's era, so it's kind of, my opinion of this episode is that it's very much a standard, Chris Chibnall episode, like that, you know, has its moments because of the occasion, the regeneration, and the 100-year anniversary of the BBC that commemorates this episode. You know, there's a lot of moments that are in there that are very nice and are sure to give fans something to smile about. But you know, it's kind of that, you know, it's Christian. Do you know what I was thinking? Up until the end, you know, when Jodie Whittaker regenerates, I was thinking this feels like another, just doesn't feel like a regeneration episode, you know, in itself, because, you know, I kind of feel like this is in part because it was added sort of towards the end, like the BBC asked for one extra episode for the Centenary to sort of tie up the era, and I kind of feel like a few of the plot lines are kind of very basic in that respect. Like, you have the Daleks, you have the Cybermen, you have the Master, you know, and a lot of this is kind of very, you know, very standard Doctor Who, to put it like that. Sort of Doctor Who at its most standard. One of the things that I'm at least happy about is that the cringe level in this episode is not as high as it was in some other Chris Chibnall era episodes. There was a few cringy moments, but I'm happy that there's at least a lot more heartfelt, you know, moments that are sure to put a smile on fans' faces. Right, so I can't actually go into much more detail other than that. I think overall, I enjoyed the episode. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, you know, for the runtime. The runtime is good, you know, with its various plot lines. There's a lot of easy fixes at the end, which kind of you have to look over, as a lot of, you know, as has been in a lot of Chris Chibnall episodes. She does regenerate. We do see who the next Doctor is, and what I can say is that at least Jodie Whittaker's regeneration was, you know, it did carry some emotion, you know, to see the act, you know, both Jodie Whittaker and Yaz and other people in the episode, you know, the emotions were running high, and, you know, this at least is deserved, I think, from the perspective of Jodie Whittaker. You know, she deserves this emotional send-off. But I gotta go into spoilers now, so be sure to click, you know, the verdict at the end of the episode. There'll be a timestamp so you can see my score for the episode. And if you haven't seen it yet, go watch the episode, come back for spoilers, and leave comments about what you thought of the episode. We can discuss at length in the comment section, as we always do. So this is your final spoiler warning. Here's the spoilery part of the review. So, a few things, right? There's a lot of plot happening in this episode. Like, you have the Cybermen, the first ones, which starts off as quite a, you know, an action-packed opening, you know, the bullet train, you know, but then you start introducing, like, the Cybermen, the child, the paintings going missing, the seismologists going missing, the Daleks appearing to the Doctor, the Master in 1916, you know, like, there's a lot of stuff going on, like for the first 45 minutes, you know, like, and even, like, Vinda shows up from Flux, you know, all these characters appearing, you know, Ace and Tegan, they all get introduced, and it's kind of like, you're there for a while, like, thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much to remember here. It does start to connect as, you know, the Doctor eventually comes to meet up with Ace and Tegan in unit. But, you know, it's a lot of plot to get through. And one of the things that I didn't like about this episode is the way they handled Dan, or John Bishop's character. They literally, after the intro, he has a shot to the helmet. Again, one of those points that I was making, like, you have to kind of switch your brain off, because he's in outer space and his helmet, he gets shot in the face and his helmet has, like, a bullet hole in it, and he's out in space for a while, and, like, how that works is, like, bad science fiction, you know what I mean? And after this is his revelation that, oh my gosh, I cannot keep traveling. You know, lots of companions have had this. but then he doesn't show up in the entire rest of the episode until the end, like where they have this group of companions chatting about the Doctor. So this is, I think, going to bother a lot of people, because it bothers me. He has his goodbye, and his goodbye for the Doctor is more of a not a very nice one from Jodie Whittaker's perspective, because she just sees him disappear, and Dan's left thinking that she's mad at him for this. So I think that people were expecting maybe him to be in this a lot more, but turns out no, that was it. You get him in the beginning, you get him at the end, and he's not influential to much of the plot at all, actually, in this episode. What else? We have the Master, who, again, it's kind of like his episode. I feel like out of all the Daleks, the Cybermen, they just kind of muscle, they're just kind of like, he makes a deal with them, what's new, he's the Master, he's always doing this. But yeah, it's kind of his episode to shine in that respect. He's kind of the main villain, as you might expect. And, he's kind of a bit crazy, I think when I was watching, I was kind of seeing how different he was from when he played it in the last series. And like his performance is kind of, in the beginning, a bit more controlled, as he plays this kind of professor in the was it Naples, as a seismologist, and then but then he's also in 1916 as Rasputin. So like it's kind of like you kind of see these differences, but then as the episode goes on, he becomes that more crazed Master that people have seen in the other episodes, and he mentioned about like absorbing the Siberium, which was way back in series 12, and how you're kind of left to imagine this is the reason why. But yeah, I think overall, I think he was a good Master in this episode. I kind of was annoyed with the Daleks and Cybermen, because they kind of unit under siege from the Cybermen, converting, it's kind of what's more, Dalek, the Dalek that meets with the Doctor asking, to destroy the entire Daleks. You never believe that that's legit, and the Doctor's like, how do I know this is a trap? And the Dalek's like, well, meet me at this location. And then other Daleks are at their location, and they're like, well, we let that Dalek go and contact you to draw you in. It was all part of the plan. It's all very standard from that aspect. This is what I meant. Like there was no chance at all that the Dalek was genuine, and there was no chance that the Daleks weren't going to be like this. But then it doesn't really become more than that. They were the ones in the the crust of the earth or something, like drilling to destroy the planet through tectonic plate disruption or whatever. And then planet Earth was going to become a Dalek building ground, or a Cybermen building ground. I never know which one is which, but basically after that, that's kind of it. After the Master explains his plan and how they're all working together because of their mutual hatred of the Doctor, it's kind of as standard as you can expect from that aspect. So besides that, there was this whole thing about the forced regeneration, which was the Master's plan, and so this is how it connects with like the various time points, because he wanted the cyber planet or whatever to power the degeneration of the Doctor, or the forced regeneration rather, and then he becomes the Doctor. So you see Sacha Dhawan's Master in Jodie Whittaker's Doctor outfit going around being evil and stuff, and it's kind of like, okay, fine, this is kind of really standard and okay, fine. But this is where we have some good parts of the episode, because you have Jodie Whittaker then in this sort of regeneration limbo, and this is where the cameos and the fan pleasing moments come, because you see David Bradley, you see Colin Baker, Peter Davison, Sylvester McCoy, and also Paul McGann as their respective Doctors in this sort of regeneration limbo, all speaking to her, which is great to see, like really great to see. Initially, they're all in robes, except for Paul McGann. But then later on, as the Doctor has implanted, like little psychic things into the companions' shoulders, she can appear to them throughout to help them out. So she appears to Yaz. But when she appears to Tegan, it's Peter Davison in full costume. And he says some that whole moment with Peter Davison and Tegan, and then later on, same thing happens again with Ace and the Seventh Doctor. Like, these moments are really heartfelt and very well done. I think these would be, I would happily watch, again for these moments. But then, like, later on, you also have the fugitive Doctor showing up as a hologram. To help with the degeneration. So, like, degeneration as in Sacha Dhawan's Master as the Doctor going back to Jodie Whittaker. And, this is, again, a few plot things. This is the point, I think, at the, when you get to the last sort of third of the episode, that things start to unravel plot-wise. So I can give you a few examples. Like, the Sacha Dhawan's Doctor in Jodie Whittaker's clothes is there with his Cyber Masters, who have been shown to be able to regenerate, as we saw in series 12. Then the fugitive Doctor walks in, stands in amongst the Cybermen, and the Cybermen all continuously fire at the fugitive Doctor, but because she's a hologram, they all destroy each other. Like, and if that sounds familiar, it's because it is. It happened exactly in Eve of the Daleks 2 episodes ago, where, or is it, one of the characters in that episode, one of the side characters, ducks, and these 2 Daleks continuously shoot at each other until they're destroyed. So, like, this is the thing, standard, running out of ideas, not clever writing right there. Then at that point, they start to regenerate, okay. Vinda comes in, shoots the Master to stun him or whatever, shoves him back in the regeneration box, and all of a sudden the entire cyber planet that was used to power the forced regeneration is not needed anymore, because a sonic screwdriver wave can sonic the regeneration energy from the dead Cybermen who are about to regenerate into the thing, and then she becomes Jodie Whittaker again, So one entire cyber planet, a dozen cyber, people regenerating, who then don't regenerate. So can you sonic regeneration? Like, this is the thing. It's all very quick, very don't think too much about it, right in. Again, later on in the episode, Ace gets dropped off by Yaz into the volcano alone to beat the Daleks, or to take care of this entire Dalek operation that's happening in the volcano. Not to worry, because Graham O'Brien is there. Why is he there? It's not explained. He has a psychic paper, so you're left to assume that he's just investigating at the exact same time, in the exact same country that Ace is shown up in, so don't question why he's there, he's just there. And then later on, the worst one for me is the way that Tegan is climbing down an elevator shaft. The Cybermen detect her, begin like punching through the wall, start shooting at her, and then she lets go of the ladder and drops down an elevator shaft. Then, the next time we see her, she just comes out of a panel in the wall, like she hasn't fallen down an elevator shaft. Like, how? Like, why would you show that in an episode? How come somebody didn't look at that and think, yes, she fell down an elevator shaft, but she's fine? Like, this is the whole thing about the story, like, having to tie itself up very quickly towards the end, that it leaves you with plot like this that is literally unexplained, and you just kind of have to smile and like laugh through it. Why these characters are fine, or there's no peril basically from this side of things. No peril at all. They're going to be fine. But anyway, so this is the thing. It had its moments. I really loved seeing the other Doctors back. And it was an emotional send-off for Jodie Whittaker at the end. But like, the overall plot was very standard, and it was Chris Chibnall writing at its Chris Chibnall-est, if that's even like how you can put it. But and the thing is, it's even like he knows about it, because like so many times in the episode, Graham shows up and he's like, she's still not explaining anything, isn't she? Like, and you're like, well, yeah, she still's not explaining anything. That's like peak Chris Chibnall writing. So like it's he's parodying himself. But anyway, like coming to the end of the era is kind of like, for me, it never really hit a high. It was just kind of like throughout, I never think of this era as like having any like purely defining moments, like even the Timeless Child stuff was not picked up. The fob watch doesn't even make an appearance in this episode. The Yasmin Doctor relationship that they hinted at in the previous two specials doesn't get a mention here. So if you were expecting to see any kind of 13th Doctor Yasmin relationship come, or any kind of even confessions or discussions, it's not going to happen. It was not in the episode. So it's kind of like plot that was like made in like the previous series and the previous years of the show has no impact. It doesn't go anywhere. The fob watch, the Doctor's past, doesn't go anywhere, and that's it. The era is over. So like this, it's kind of all been like one level, no, kind of a bit directionless in that sense. Anyway, I'm sure there's more to discuss about this, and I will happily discuss all aspects of this episode in the comment section below. So please, if I've forgotten to mention anything, please do bring it up in the comments and I will respond. So, speaking about directionless writing, now we're going to go on talk about the new direction, because we have a new Doctor, and I saw this come in, but maybe you didn't. Maybe it was a surprise to you, but it was absolutely amazing to see David Tennant be the one that Jodie Whittaker regenerates into. And even in the credits, it says introducing David Tennant as the Doctor. So this fits in with rumors that he is playing the next Doctor. This is funny. I just thought that like he didn't even have a mirror like outside the TARDIS, so it's not like he knows who he is yet, right? Because he hasn't got a mirror. But anyway, that doesn't that's besides the point. David Tennant is back. He's the Doctor, and also regeneration conveniently regenerating him into his new outfit now. Which is not something that we've seen like in recent regeneration stories. But he appears on the cliff looking confused, saying his characteristic what, as I think everyone was expecting him to say if he was to appear. But not only that, but there was a trailer at the end of the episode for upcoming episodes, and this is Russell T Davies, is what Russell T Davies was good at, always having something to show. Always having something of the next series. I remember when it came back in 2005, and it was kind of like you get to the end of the series, of series 1, you get the trailer for the Christmas Invasion. At the end of the Christmas Invasion, you get the series ahead trailer, and then that airs in Easter. And at the end of that, you got so there's always the next thing at the end of the episode. And the fact that it was only brief, but you see David Tennant running around, you see Donna, you see even Ncuti Gatwa. So, like, he already filmed scenes, which is quite funny. I wasn't expecting to see him in the trailer. But maybe, this is quite interesting. Do we see him at the end of the potential 60th anniversary celebrations? Or is he actually going to be a part of it alongside David Tennant? Like, I'm not sure. But, it's exciting. It's a long wait now. About a year, because I think it'll be, like, November 2023, if Russell T Davies is to be believed about what he said about the episodes before. But I really hope for more information like coming up, more information about the stories, about more trailers, more publicity, because having the trailer for this and the release date 2 weeks before like this episode was a bit deflating, really. Like you kind of want to be excited for the episode. So now I want to be excited for David Tennant's second time as the Doctor, Russell T Davies' second era, and Ncuti Gatwa beyond. But yeah, David Tennant regenerated. I started to laugh as like the suit appeared that you'd seen from filming photos, and then you see David Tennant's face. This is what I was really hoping for at the end of the episode. So I'm very happy about that. So guys, let me know what you thought about this episode. Put all your thoughts in the comments. I will be happy to discuss them. Also, put your thoughts about the future of the show and what you're looking forward to, and how you think both David Tennant and Ncuti Gatwa are going to be as future Doctors. Overall, episode review. I think it was entertaining. It was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was like a lot of build-up, 45 minutes of build-up of various plot lines that a lot of them are then easily dealt with. You can't overlook these easy cop-out things that happen in the episode, that mean things happen quickly or people are safe now. This is kind of like really kind of a bit sloppy for Doctor Who. So, but this has been a staple of the Chris Chibnall era. So Jodie Whittaker's time as Doctor's come to an end with a suitable emotional send-off for her towards the end of the episode. So what am I going to score this? I think I'm going to score it just a plain 7 because I did enjoy much of the action, though standard as it was. I cannot overlook this sloppiness towards the end, but it does have this hope for the future of the show, and I'm very excited to see what happens next. So that's all I've got time for in this review. I don't know when the next videos is going to be. Let me know if there's any ideas about videos you want to see, and whether I can make some more Doctor Who videos to make the wait between now and the next episode a little bit easier. So as always, leave a comment down below, click like and subscribe for more videos on this channel. Check out our gaming channel as well on Skybot Gaming, where I have lots of Doctor Who Let's Plays. And yeah, have a very good evening, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.